Welcome to the how-to guide for the Saint-Gobain gyprock wall and ceiling systems Revit template. Let's look at loading the Saint-Gobain gyprock ceiling system schedules into an existing Revit project. The built-in Revit schedules calculates all the components required to install the ceiling systems. Please note that the figures calculated is only an estimate. Site conditions, project constraints, and workmanship methodology vary per project and will influence quantities. Wastage is not included. From the Insert tab, click on Insert from File. Select Insert Views from File. Navigate to the Templates folder and select the Revit gyprock Setup project. On the Insert Views dialog box, select all the schedules. Ensure all the schedules, name starting with XX, is part of the selection. Click OK to load the schedules into your project. If you should get any warnings, you can ignore these warnings. Next, I would like to demonstrate how Revit will calculate the components based on the selected ceiling system. Notice Revit will not calculate any information until you have selected the correct ceiling systems from the type selector. So what I would like to do is I would just like to update all the ceilings that I have currently in my project to that of one of the predefined ceiling systems. So I'm just using the select all visible in view, and then from the type selector I will select the ceiling system I would like to use for this particular project. Once you've selected the ceiling system, notice that Revit now lists all the ceiling instances that has been placed within your project. A few features that I would like to highlight in this schedule is the following. As we can see, some instances of schedules is going to give the user an option to select either an option A or an option B. Further features is going to require user input. For example, all the columns that is highlighted with the light blue requires user input, either from selecting from a drop-down list or entering a value in the field. Once these values are entered, it will then start calculating the necessary quantities. Further features would be how Revit calculates the required framework for this particular installation. For example, in this ceiling system, I will require Don Main T's T38 FRs. I will require Don Cross T's T38 FRs. And based on the area and perimeter, it will then calculate the quantity required for the main T's, the cross T's, and also indicate how many boxes is required for purchase. And finally, the Revit schedule will also calculate the number of tiles required for each instance within your project. The number of tiles and the quantity of boxes required. Thank you for using and downloading the Saint-Gobain gyprock wall and ceiling Revit template.